Let's start this one over. Hopefully my camera doesn't overheat. I keep messing up my review. Hello everyone, Doval here, and welcome back to the channel with another episode and another review, this time with another amazing metal Cardbot W figure. I'm not biased, I am just obsessed with these figures as of late, and I'm so happy to get my hands on another one of them. Strangely enough though, the day I planned on recording this review, that toy guy did his own review of this figure, and he covered many of the talking points I actually wanted to talk about in regards to this toy line and how it relates to Transformers. So I recommend you check out his video as well. But anyways, let's take a look at the packaging for this amazing guy here. Now, Night Griffon is one of the secondary antagonists at first before he joins the crew in the show. But here we have him in his amazing super mode here on the box. By the way, I like the red, white, and blue color scheme of the box itself, and the way it contrasts with the red, white, gold, and black of the figure. But yeah, this is him in his super mode, which we'll see towards the end of the review, and there's his Blackbird alt mode. On this side, you got the product shots, of course, of the super mode and how his weapons, various weapons, will store. Interestingly enough, they almost exclusively show the super mode on this box. On the back, you got more obligatory product shots showing his accessories and what he looks like in the super mode. I actually think this is the same image that's on the front. And here we have the in-show 3D render. And I'm really starting to like the in-show renders of these bots. I've seen some of the action scenes and stuff. Not too much for the human stuff, but the bots are cool, and the action scenes are really nice too. But here we have him as he appears in the show. Now, without further ado, let's get straight into the figure. Alright. And here we have our boy coming in here on Savinard. And as you can see, his stuff does store on Savinard's vehicle mode. But let's get in here and look at the figure itself. So here we have Night Griffon in his amazing Blackbird vehicle mode. And I want to go ahead and say, before we go into the details up close, let me fold up the landing gear here. This thing is sleek. Look at how thin that is. No robot cable just hanging off the bottom like a lot of Transformers do. So they did a pretty nice job. Now, they did take some shortcuts, which we'll get to in the transformation. But yeah, this thing looks great. So if you look up here at the front, you have this nice gold trim that goes all the way back down the figure. You got his little eyes, which are hidden nicely on this one with a little bit of red there under it. You got red, gold, pinstriping and lining all over this figure. Super sleek. Nice engine detail, cleans up super nice. On the back, you got these nice picked out green and silver thrusters here. You can kind of tell his head kind of pokes out the back, but it kind of creates some extra fins for the robot mode. On the bottom, he cleans up nicely. He does have visible hands there, although it's kind of hard to see on my backdrop. But he cleans up super nice. And as you saw, his landing gear does fold down in the front and here on the back. Nice and neat like. And there's no posability on this mode at all. It's just a plane. Planes don't usually pose. But yeah, and this vehicle is great. Now, let's get into some size comparisons here. Here he is next to Blastoff, and he absolutely dwarfs the little guy. Here he is next to Voyager Brawl. Once again, absolutely dwarfs. This might actually be somewhat to scale, actually. And you already saw him compared to Savinard, but I'll bring him again anyway, back in his vehicle mode. He is just long enough to cover the entire upper level of the vehicle. And as you can see, as I mentioned earlier, his stuff does store on Savinard, which is cool. That has not happened in the show because the way the metal cards work, but it's still cool that you can do that with the toy. And one more little sneak peek. Here he is. Next to my next review, who is totally not just legally distinct Mirage, with Flash Vector. I will be reviewing him next. So he is a pretty sizable guy. I meant to bring in Taki in her vehicle mode to show you guys comparison, but it's about the same size as that guy. Now, without further ado, I guess we get straight into transformation, shall we? So what you're going to do to transform this guy, and it's super cool, is you're just going to take the entire bot, you're going to bend these in, and that's going to untab most of the stuff. Then you're going to come to this front, and most would consider this parts forming, but considering this whole front half of the vehicle forms the weapons, I don't think it counts. It's not necessary for the robot mode. But you should then be able to free this up, now that you've got that unpegged. It is tabbed in here, and here on the underside of this bit here. And once you got that freed up, what you're going to do is you're going to take these thrusters here, you're going to take the wing, flip it back, take this, flip it forward, do the same thing on the other side. Flip this up, flip this back, and that will allow you to fully undo the thrusters there. Do the same thing on the other side. You're just going to bring these down, flip them out, and there's your legs right there, already ready to go. Same thing on the other side. Flip down this knee, straighten it out, flip the knee back up. And boom, there are the legs. Done already. Sorry, I did not have them on camera. There are the legs. Done. And then you're going to unpeg the wings from the arm. They're going to pop out, and you can flare them out. Same thing on the other side. Pop them out. They peg into a 5mm on the arm. Flip that out. Then bring out the arms and fold down the shoulders. Like so. I could probably do all of this and show you without giving you any verbal instruction whatsoever. Then you just flip up the head, turn it around, and boom! There we have Night Griffon in his robot mode. But we're not quite done. So this front section of the vehicle, this becomes his main weapon, his shield, and the scabbard for said weapon. So first you're going to take the front and you're just going to pull it off to reveal the lance underneath. Then you're going to take this part right here and you're going to separate it, and that's going to free it up. Flip this out and boom, you have a shield that attaches with a nice 5mm port. This is the only figure in the line so far that uses 5mm ports. Then for the scabbard, what you're going to do is you're just going to fold out the landing gear straight like so. And this will attach to his back by flipping up the back skirt. And you're going to slide the landing gear into this notch. And then the C-clip right here is going to tab onto that. So you slide that in and boom, you have his scabbard for his weapon. And as you can see, it just slides back in like it did in vehicle mode. His weapon is also 5mm and will just peg straight into his hand. Like so. And then his shield will peg into the 5mm port on his arm right here. And boom! There we have Night Griffon fully transformed in all of his glory. And he is a great looking figure, and I just looked over at my camera and how good he looks in the camera, and it's awesome. Probably my favorite as far as cool factor of all of the metal card bots I have collected so far. Now, before we get into the articulation, let's look at the detailing here. So, you have this amazing knight-like head sculpt with a little bit of a bird motif on it. You got the feathers on the side, the nice Spartan-esque hair crest on the top. The chest is done in this nice breakup of white, black, gold, and a little bit of red. You got those thruster details on the shoulder. The lance is done in a nice, solid red here on the tip. As far as I remember in the show, I think he like poison tips his lance. Got this nice like gemerald thing going on here. Nice white gold with some riveting detail on the arm. It's not going to come out great on camera, but there's riveting detail on there. The gold lines carry down to the thighs with the red on the legs. Nice pointy cone knee pads. He would stab himself if he tripped. A little bit of white here on the feet. And then the shield is also great, done in this nice, mostly black with this gold trim that goes around the side and this nice gold point here. He's got this cool thruster detail for his backpack. And he does have a backpack, but there's something you can do with this. I'll show you in a second. He's got this nice, almost butterfly wing aesthetic here on the back. And his back does still clean up rather nicely, even though there's this giant scabbard on the back. But yeah, not too much to go over here on the details wise, but he is awesome and cool and dope. Other synonymous words with cool. Anyway, let's get into articulation, shall we? So let me take his weapons off just to make things easier for myself here. You may have already seen a cool point of articulation here on the figure, but his wings can swivel up about that far and down all the way. With the backpack on, they can only go about this far because these fins will hit the scabbard, but they can go a little closer to 90 if you remove this. His shoulders are on a double joint. He can go out on the lower joint about this far, but he can also bring his shoulders all the way up with those trigger-happy shoulders. He has a head that is on a ball joint. He can do a full 360. He can look down a little bit and up a lot if you snap his neck. He can tilt side to side and, of course, do a full 360. His elbow does have a swivel, and he has a bend to 90. I wish he could go a little further, but that's okay. No wrist articulation, but he does have a really cool pointer joint, which is not something you see very often dedicated on a figure. This serves no reason for transformation, but it's a pointer joint, so he can actually point his lance forward, which is really cool. No waist articulation, unfortunately, due to the nature of the transformation, but he does have just under 90 of split. He can go forward to 90. He can go back. If his backpack is not in the way, he can go back just as far. His knee is on a double joint and can go well past 90. I believe he can go all the way. Yep. His knee pad can move all the way up and down. He has no toe articulation left or right, but he can tilt his toe down a little bit. But yeah, so not the most posable, but considering, you know, he's a stoic knight, you can probably get him in some cool knightly looking poses. Now, as far as the back I mentioned, if you want to clean it up, this part becomes an integral piece of his super mode, which means he'll be left with his lance weapon. But if you want to get this off his back, you can take it off, fold the landing gear down, bring this down so it's more like that, and you get this nice, super clean back with coattails. And what you're going to do is, instead of giving him a lance in his basic robot mode, sorry, he's leaning forward because I posed him weird. There we go. Instead of him having a lance in his robot mode, you can just put this back on and instead give him a big-ass sword, which goes really nicely with the shield. So let me show you that real quick. So you just slide this back in. We're going to use that nice little pointer joint. Attach the shield back on here. And both can be wielded in either arm. But yeah, and there he is with his big-ass honkin' sword. Really, really cool. I just can't stop gushing over just how cool the figure looks. But anyway, without further ado, I guess we should go straight into his super mode, right? So, let's bring in his metal card, which is over here on Savinard. Don't know why I need it to rhyme. I tend to do that all the time. Let's bring in his metal card, which is freaking huge. At this point, you can hardly call it a card, man. Like, it is totally thin and discreet, you know? You can't even see all this stuff back here. Sorry, I can't do that with a straight face. But we have his card here with an image of the figure on one side, and his faction symbol here on the back. And what you're going to do with this is, all you're going to do is you're going to split what will be the legs here. And that will allow you to take this whole section and pull it off. It tabs in with these two tabs on this tab and this port here. Sorry, these ports here. And these right here are going to be some cool wing additions. So what you're going to do with these, you're going to bring your figure in here. You're going to point these down so that you can get the clearance, and you're going to slide this on like so, and it's going to tab in here on the back. I don't know if you'll be able to see that on camera, but tabs in there on the back. Boom. Then you can put the wings back up, and you want to take the front ones, angle them down, like so. Do the same thing on the other side, so take the wings here. Sorry, bump the camera. You're going to slide it on. Tab it in if it'll work for you. There you go. Bring this up. Bring the wings down. And there you have some lovely, lovely wings for this guy. And honestly, I think he looks cool enough like this. I don't think he needs the rest of it. This looks cool, and you can technically leave these on in the vehicle mode if you want. But it'll look a little weird because you'll have to swap them so that the right side is facing up. Now, for these legs here, you're just going to fold them out. No special fanfare or anything like that. They just fold straight out. Bring down the back legs the same way. Like so. And then to prep the figure for this combination, all you're going to do is you're going to take this back skirt here, you're going to point it straight back, you're going to bring the legs like so, and they are actually going to tab together on that C-clamp at the bottom, and you're going to bring them straight back so that this section here slides between the legs where you can see those ports. Then what you're going to do is you're actually going to bring in this nose cone. Let me pull it off the sword here. You're going to bring in this nose cone, and you got two 3mm ports here on the back that are going to go into the two 3mm ports on the back of the leg. And that's going to lock all of that neatly in place like so and form his tail. Want to point the toes back and point the knee pads back. Then you're going to take this whole assembly, and it has a nice C-clamp right here, and is going to perfectly fit between his legs and tab in like so, and boom. There we have Night Griffon in his Griffin mode. But you can do a little bit more with this. If you flip the head back, you can flip this forward and give him an eagle crest on the front. Let's take a quick look at that. Cool. But yeah, here we have him in his Griffin mode. And honestly, Onyx Prime, eat your heart out. This is the Onyx Prime we deserved. And his main robot mode is the X-Men crossover we deserved for Hasbro. But not too much new detail is added other than the nice, almost golden feather here on the legs. A lot more gold gets added. But as far as details are concerned, not too much. Now, as for articulation added in this mode, the legs can ratchet out to about that far. They can go all the way forward, so you can kick like crazy, kick for days. They can go all the way back. You can technically 360 them if you really work at it. His ankles, or I guess in this way, they'd be elbows? Because front limbs on animals are technically arms, so I guess this would be an elbow? Anyway. And he does have a toe swivel as well. The back, same thing, toe swivel. He gets this exact same joints on the back. Like so. So you can get some pretty dynamic poses if you wanted to. But yeah, that is Night Griffon. And this figure is cool. If I'm going to display him on my shelf, I'm probably going to display him in this mode because he's just really cool looking. And it's nice to finally have another figure that can hold these massive metal cards sometimes. But yeah, that has been my quick look at Night Griffon from Metal Cardbot W. Super cool figure. I once again got this at Korea Hub USA. If you want to check that out, I'm going to see if I can put something down in the description, but I still don't know if that seller has a shareable link, but that is where I've gotten all of these figures so far. and he's really been helpful and got me some good deals on these guys. So if you're in the US, check him out over there on eBay. He's a really good seller. But yeah, without further ado, that has been my review of Metal Cardbot W Night Griffon. Thank you so much for tuning in, and if you enjoyed this, please like, subscribe, hit the bell notification below to know when I upload new stuff, and check out my other Metal Cardbot reviews here on the channel. If you want to support me in other ways, I do have a main channel where I do gaming. I just did the Subnautica Early Access live on stream. It would mean a lot if you check that out as well. And on that page, I also have a Ko-Fi, and in all of my videos, my recent videos at least, I have a link to W Energy if you want to help support me in any way you can. But anyway, guys, I have another review to film coming up soon, so I will see you in the next review of Metal Cardbot, or whatever it is we're checking out. This has been Dovalt, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye!